Hey guys, I'm Riley. This is Riley with Flash, and you can see that I don't have Flash with me today. I'm going to talk about something that happened last year, and it happened exactly a year ago, so let's get started. So on July 2nd last year, I had woken up at about 4:30 in the morning, and I had sharp pain in my lower abdomen, and I had felt this pain at least once before, and we thought it was maybe appendicitis, so we had gone to my doctor, and my doctor had done an x-ray, and found out that it had just been constipation, so I assumed that's what this was that morning. And so I took some Tylenol and I moved down to the living room and just slept on the couch for a couple of hours before my brother had woken me up because we had to go to work, and we were working. We had to be to work by about 9:45, and I think I worked till 4 that day, or I was supposed to. And so we got to work, and as the hour was going on, I think I had ended up leaving work by about 11. We had called our coworker and asked them to come in early for their shift, but by the time it kept getting further and further in the day, by the time it got to about 11 o'clock, I was in a lot of pain, could hardly walk. I could walk enough that I could make it to and from places, but I was hurting really bad. And even my brother was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of worried about you, like, you look pretty bad." And I had tried going to the bathroom a couple of times, still thinking that maybe it was just constipation. And I had been talking with my mom all morning, just letting her know what was going on, that I was still in pain. And so she ended up picking me up from work. She took me to my doctor, and my doctor had done where she did like the pushing on my abdomen to see if I was actually in pain. And she could tell very clearly right away that I was in pain, and said you should go directly to the ER. And so she gave us a slip that was supposed to help us get through the ER a little faster, but then didn't write what she thought it was, so they didn't really care at all. And so we got stuck in the waiting room. We probably were in the waiting room for an hour and a half before they took me back to like a triage room where they put an IV in my arm, and got basic history and whatnot, and then sent us back to the waiting room again. And so a couple hours later, it's probably 2 hours later, I'd have to say, my mom had actually just grabbed her work laptop and was going to start working on work stuff in the waiting room while we were waiting, when they finally had called us back into like a treatment room or like an exam room, and they took all the history again, made sure everything was correct, and then decided that they wanted to do, I think it was a CT scan, some type of scan of my abdomen to check my appendix, because that's kind of what everybody was thinking it was at that point. And so they did the scan, and we had probably waited another hour before they did that. And it was really funny in the waiting room. There was another individual that was also walking around like holding their side like how I was. So I'm assuming they also had an appendicitis. But so they ended up doing my scan, and within an hour, I think, the doctor had come in and said, "Yes, it is your appendix. We do have to take it out. It is swollen. It is appendicitis." Usually we would tell people to wait till the morning, since now it was probably, I think it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish by now. And I had my mom and my brother and my dad had all come to the ER and were just kind of waiting with me. But they said we usually have people wait till the morning at this point, but it's so bad we want to get it out tonight to make sure it doesn't burst. So they started prepping me for surgery, just making sure I was in a hospital gown, dressed appropriately, that I didn't have anything like, I always wear a watch and I always wear a wristband, and I usually wear like a necklace, so all of that we had to make sure was off. And then it was another couple of hours before they took me back to like the pre-surgery area, where they have just curtains between patients while they're making sure people are waking up okay and getting them ready for going into surgery. And by now it was 9:30 at night, and they were just about to start my surgery, and I had actually known one of the, I don't know if they're called nurses, but one of the nurses that was there to help make sure people were waking up and going to sleep okay, or, well, waking up okay. They put you to sleep back in the surgery room. So they get me back in the surgery room, and it's just a bright white room, and the doctor's talking to me. He had asked me a couple of times to make sure that we were on the same page of what was going on, pretty much just confirming of what we were doing. And then they gave me some type of anesthesia, and I was out just right away. And then when I woke up, it was hour and a half later, and I was just in a panic. I was literally like in the middle of an anxiety/panic attack. So it was a good thing that I knew one of the people that was working, and she knew me, so she came over, made sure I was okay, calmed me down, asked if I was in pain. Honestly, I'm not sure if I was or not. I just remember being so panicked that I said yes, and it was kind of sore, I think, but I don't think it was like really like hurting really bad. So she gave me some Tylenol, and then once I was awake enough, they sent me to like my overnight room where my family was waiting, where it was my mom and my brother, and my dad had gone home for the night because he had to work early in the morning. So they stayed the night with me. I believe Randy ended up leaving in the morning because he had to go to work. But I was discharged the next day. For going to the bathroom, I had to call for help every time because they didn't want me walking and like accidentally falling. So they always wanted to make sure that I had help with me. Sometime in the middle of the night, after I'd gone to the bathroom, like the first or second time, they had said one of the things you have to do before you're allowed to leave the hospital is you have to walk. So do you want to do that now or do you want to do that later? So I ended up going for a walk, and we walked just kind of down a little ways, and then we ended up turning around and going back. And I'm a very active person, if you guys can't tell, with the horses, and I love running, so I definitely wanted to just be up and walking as soon as possible. So we finally got to go home, and it was, since it was July 2nd, our county fair is in the middle of July, so it was exactly 2 weeks before county fair. And this is important because it was my last year that I was able to show at the county fair, so I kept saying that there was no way I was going to miss it. And even with having to have my appendix out 2 weeks before county fair, I still ended up showing, and I'll make sure to add some of those clips in for you guys. So if you've seen my clips from county fair last year that I've posted already, you can tell that I'm kind of a little stiffer in the saddle, moving a little less, or just riding a little funny, and that's why, is because it was 2 weeks, or exactly 2 weeks before I had my appendix out, so like the fun show was a week and a half. So it was just kind of like a crazy thing that happened, and everybody was super nice. I talked to a lot of people at county fair. I had a couple of friends who would help me with getting him water, tacking and untacking. I think my mom cleaned his stall the entire week. So everybody was very helpful, and I'm very grateful for that I had those people there for me. But it was just a crazy thing that happened, and it's just one of those examples of like you can't control when that happens. And thankfully where I work is slow and they're really flexible on hours, and so when this was happening and I was working with my brother, it was easy enough to just call somebody in right away and have somebody else come and cover my shift for me. So now it's my crazy story, and the day before county fair started, so it would have been the Tuesday before county fair, and our county fair starts Wednesday and then ends Sunday, so you have to be there by 6 p.m. Wednesday, and then the horses have to be out. You can't leave until 6 p.m. Friday, but then you have to, Sunday, and then you have to be out by 8 p.m. Sunday. So you have like a 2-hour window to get horses out, and then all day Wednesday to get horses in, and they generally start if you need to get there early in the morning, you can let somebody know and they'll let you in earlier. But generally about 11, 12 o'clock is when most people will start slowly trickling in, and there's a couple of big groups that kind of all come together. But so that Tuesday is we had gotten the stall ready, and then I had to go for like the 2-week checkup for them to check to make sure that everything was okay. And the doctor had said that just if I feel any pain, that I was supposed to stop and what I was doing and rest. To just keep taking Tylenol and ibuprofen, alternating every 4 or 6 hours as needed, which I really was like at that point starting to stop taking painkillers as it wasn't hurting that bad. I actually felt a lot better, like a lot less pain after my appendix was out than when my appendix needed to come out, because that pain from when your appendix needs to come out was just a very severe pain. I'm not the best at describing, but it was kind of like a sharp, like shooting pain where if you touched it, it hurt just really bad, and walking hurt really bad where I like didn't want to walk. So in the ER, when we were in the waiting room, is I would find a comfortable spot and I'd try not to move. So that's the majority of the story there. Getting fans up at the fairgrounds was interesting. I wasn't able to do that. Just because it involved climbing and a ladder, or climbing and or a ladder, I should say. Usually I would just climb up on the stalls and balance and then plug the fan in, but since I wasn't able to do that climbing, I don't remember who ended up doing it, but somebody else ended up getting Flash's fan up for us. And then, like I said, tacking and untacking. We actually have a synthetic saddle, so it's not that heavy, so I was able to do it about half the time. Towards the end of the week, I kind of was in like a dull pain the whole time. Not the whole time, but you know, like that. If I like stopped focusing on something, I'd start hurting a little bit, and I'd have to rest a little more. So after county fair, I think I took like another week and a half of just resting before I slowly started getting back into work. Mostly doing just like register stuff, talking to customers, and not dealing with the bikes and boats that we deal with, as that would mean moving things, and I was only allowed to lift up to 25 pounds. By the time I went back to work, I think I was allowed to lift 50 pounds, but even that, some of our bikes are really heavy, or we deal with, boats getting in and out, and that can pull, so anything that would pull down or up, or anything just that would move my abdomen too much, would hurt. So there was the one night, I want to say it was Wednesday night of county fair, and I think it was actually Thursday night. I think we had to show the next day, and Flash, we were out in practice ring 1, which is the ring that we always show in. If you see our show or our videos from the county fairgrounds, and Flash was irritated about something, some way I was working him, and he had pulled down towards the ground against my hands, and so it pulled me forward, and then it pulled, and so I had to put his head over the fence because there was nobody around that could walk him for me, and I didn't want him to do it again. So I just put his head over the fence and made him walk kind of crooked with his head over the fence, down the fence, back around to where the gate was, while I was trying to figure out who to ask to get my mom for me, because she had gone in to clean his stall. And so we actually had our equine ambassador, which is just somebody who represents the project and the horses, well, at county fair and throughout the year at different events. So I had asked him if he could grab her for me, and she ended up having come out of the barn right after he had gone in. So I got her attention, and she helped me get him to the picnic table, and we got off, and we lunged him. And then we also, our tack stall had broken that night, so we were sharing a tack stall, so the other people were sitting with it for a little while we waited for the superintendents to get there. And then so the superintendents had gotten there, and it's a couple, and so the husband had gone in and was working on the tack stall, and the wife was out talking with us for a little while I wet and got his stuff for lunging, and then I had Mom help me lunge him, and then we went back into the barn once we were done. I don't know that I got back on that night. I think I maybe not, just because I was hurting. So we went back into the barn, and we were talking with the superintendents, and I had sat down, and I kind of like plumped into, or like sat down into a chair and kind of leaned back so that I wasn't like sitting up against my abdomen at all, so that it was relaxing more. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just had my appendix out 2 weeks ago, so it's just kind of, I have to take things easy." And her response was, "Well, if you had told us that, we would have said to just let your mom lunge him and have you sit down." And I was like, "Oh, that's okay. We're okay." And then after showing, I think it was the riding day, so it would have been Sunday or Saturday. We're allowed to like go talk to the judge and listen to what the judge had to say. So after we finished talking with the judge, she gave me a ride back to the barn in the golf cart, just because from riding all day I was a little sore, so she gave me a ride back. And then I just kind of sat in the barn, and it was raining, so I just kind of sat in the barn for a while. I don't think we had heard placings or maybe we had. It might have been right after placings for Western riding. But then I just kind of went and spent time sitting in the barn relaxing, and it was a really nice fair. We had a great time. Flash did a really good job for me. We only had that one incident the one night where he got frustrated, and it was more just kind of like he was getting irritated that I was asking him to do something instead of letting him look around. So once we got that sorted out, he was fine. And any other videos that you guys want to see, whether it's me telling stories or what me and Flash are up to, or you want to see me and Flash try something in particular, let me know in the comments. Like the video so I know that you guys enjoy seeing our content, and then also share the video so that more people can see what me and Flash are working on, or even just this story. And have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye!